match. I think I see some timers on their way, so let's get her going.
A little bit of a desync, but I don't think it's too noticeable to worry about things right now, as both our runners are trying to get on their way. Siberian Bull finding not quite a good stage to go through in a crash, and finally resets and finds something a little bit more manageable in Flash, while Charlieboy is going through Wood as his first stage. For those that aren't familiar with how the tournament works, we do have tournament presets that our runners are able to choose before our matches, and since Siberian Bull, as our player 1, had the first pick, he chose Tournament D, which is a zipless format, but as you can tell by the resets in the stage select screen for the first few seconds, they're hidden amongst each other.
Okay, so we got hidden stage names, no zips allowed, so this is going to be a little bit of an advantage for Siberian Bull. Charlieboy not going to have the advantage of having item 2, nor able to zip through the section that he's currently in, so Siberian Bull, even though he reset and lost a couple seconds, easily could make up those couple seconds by picking up item 2 along the way before he himself finds this Woodman stage.
Well, right now, Siberian Bull is getting a little bit beaten up by the Joes here, about to go into Flashman's boss room, where we're about to see our first randomized boss, because bosses are randomized amongst the stages, and our first boss is going to be, that is a Heatman sighting that is not very solidly to the Buster. This is going to be quite a long one.
Oh, yikes. Ah, boy. 14 hits on this particular boss, and he just got bodied. Gonna use that E-Tank, so at least won't have to waste the time of taking the death. Gonna trade the E-Tanks, a little bit of safety sludge there, getting put in play. One more hit will do it. There it is.
Meanwhile, Charlieboy taking on Airman in Woodman's room with no E-Tank in sight. Oh, no. Another very extremely durable boss, and the air patterns are not being bro-like. Charlieboy arguably might have a worse boss to fight compared to Siberian Bull, so this is gonna set Charlieboy quite a bit back in the early runnings of the game.
Yeah, this is probably a good 15-20 seconds that Charlieboy's gonna lose here from, you know, not having an E-Tank available to him and taking this death. So a little bit of a pause buffer, getting over one of them. Oh no, he takes a second death, not able to avoid that second onslaught of air shooter coming out from Airman. So very uncooperative boss here.
Meanwhile, Siberian Bull going to Crashman stage, having item 1 in tow, getting that from the Flash stage, being Heatman. So this is actually a pretty good setup for SB, as Charlieboy, not too worse for wear, still manages to escape without gaming over, and gets item 3 for his trouble, going to Metal Man stage next.
A better stage, but item 3 will definitely help in certain spots, although with it being zipless, usually I see item 3, you know, setting up zips in certain places in, say, Heatman stage, for example. I think you'd be able to give a little more insight on to where item 3 could be just generally useful.
Well, it could have been useful for the crash climb that Siberian Bull is doing right now, taking the far right side rather than taking the left, even though he does have a couple of item 1s to spare. Bumping his head, thinking he was free from bunking on the ceiling. Fortunately, he did have that spare item 1. That could have been disastrous if he didn't have that extra one, as he would have to go the long way around and do the climb once again. So fortunately, Siberian Bull, a little bit of foresight, keeping to the right even though it's longer with the low amount of item 1, and managing to continue on going to our boss room, which very Aquaman-looking Bubble Man awaits.
Oh, I was surprised he actually used the E-Tank there. Again, Siberian Bull is in the third place match, and here I am commentating, but I think I would have just taken the death and traded 5 seconds or so, but, you know...
I think if that was an accidental one trying to navigate to a weapon of sorts. So yeah, that's kind of an unfortunate situation, but otherwise not too much of an issue. Anyway, both our runners took care of their respective bosses. I believe it was, like I said,
yikes.
Bubble Man. Sorry, just keeping track of what happened, as Charlieboy did beat, I think it was Metal in Metal Room, and moving on to Crashman stage, while Siberian Bull going to Air.
Oh, this Airman stage is oh, yikes. We got bird droppings coming from the top, toothpaste dispensers, metal crushers hidden in the clouds. Oh, yikes.
Trust me, I've seen worse. This is somewhat more bearable than other things that could be an Airman stage.
Oh,
but regardless of the matter,
I believe you on that one. I've definitely seen worse as well, and just going, oh my god, thank you for being in the commentary booth instead of having to play this one. Ugh. Yikes.
SB popping up. Yeah,
using some of his weapons to get through here, so quick boomerangs seem to help him get through Metal Man stage, and it looks like he's using the bubble lead here. Oh no, you might miss that. Oh, just caught the bottom of it.
Well, meanwhile, SB is trying to navigate the Joe-friendly skies. Joe's literally everywhere in the second half of Airman stage, popping the item 2 to try to mitigate most of dealing with them. About to take on our boss that's in a air room, and right now looks like we found Quick Fran trying to use the metal blaze to try to take Franny Boy out, but winds up taking a little bit one too many hits. But the metal blade did do soft weakness damage, so I'm pretty sure gonna stick with it.
Yeah, that second round definitely worked out a lot better for Siberian Bull. So that's going to be Airman down. 3 stages down. Charlieboy's working his way through Crashman. Of course, at this point, it's not really a... Oh, well, Siberian Bull's got 3 stages done. Charlieboy only has 2. So Siberian Bull's ahead. It matters which stages are done at this point. There's probably 10 seconds at most between the 2 runners right now as to when they might get to see the best eyebrows in gaming, Charlieboy taking on Bubble Man right now.
But yeah, Siberian Bull going to Bowman stage, trying to deal with these lag Fabians, but not really having much luck. Charlieboy taking out Bubble and Crash, about to get that item 2, trying to catch up in spite of some shenanigans that were happening earlier, especially in that Airman fighting Woodman, but finds a Heat Man. Fortunately, I think he has most of what he would need to make a Heat Man stage a little bit more bearable, especially item 2. Item 3 will be unavailable for zipping, but I'm pretty sure he can make use of it if need be, but item 2 is definitely going to be the star of the show in Heat Man stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Both runners actually have item 2, so we'll be able to disregard the Yoku blocks. And speaking of item 2, Siberian Bull puts it to pretty good use, skipping the last section of Bubble Man and going straight to the boss. Let's see if he collects $200 here and... no E-Tanks to speak of, and it looks like Crashman just banging his head against the wall repeatedly.
Well, fortunately, it was a soft weakness with Buster, so it was a pretty quick fight. Charlieboy using item 2 for the areas before the Yokus, which seems to be usually Charlieboy's strat just to ignore all the enemies below and just take the Yokus. Not sure if it's faster, but it's definitely safer. I would like to assume it's slower only because you're still taking a little bit extra time dealing with Yoku movement as opposed to trying to just go through some of the pillar areas under normal circumstances. But I don't think it's still losing that much time, and Charlieboy is still going at a pretty decent clip as you're about to fight out our boss in the Heatman room, which is a Donkey Kong Woodman.
Oh, you can barely see the leaves. Oof. Well, Charlieboy's looking. He might have found something. Just get in there and buster him.
Yeah, just managing to get out of the damage race alive and getting out of Heatman stage, going to the next Robot Master. Meanwhile, Siberian Bull going through Quickman stage, has some fans along the way trying to slow him down a bit, but not too much, as he going right down the Force Beam section. Shouldn't take too long for SB to be able to clear the area and go through the boss of Quickman's room, in which we probably have seen every single Robot Master except one. And if I didn't know better, who's missing? Yeah, we're missing a Flash. Flash should be in Quickman's room.
Well, we'll see in... Well, right now. Yep, there he is. So, Creed, your powers of deduction are surprisingly on point.
Process of elimination is a very strong presence. But yeah, very low running, very easy to get hit by the Buster since he's not a huge jumper, but pretty susceptible. It took a little while to take down Flash, but still was able to get him down in a Flash, and is going to be moved on to Heatman stage, where just like Charlieboy, pretty sure he has a good amount of items to make the stage much more tolerable than without.
Yeah, it looks like Siberian Bull. Well, I can see why Charlieboy tried to just skip through here. Bird droppings and Lagphidians just not going to make this first part very great to deal with.
Meanwhile, Charlieboy trying to find something to make this Heatman go much faster. And oh boy, that is a quick boomerang that is two-shotting Heatman. That is going to be a very significant find, along with the item 1, so that information is definitely going to be useful when he goes to the boss rush. That may or may not spell the difference between our runners, but we still got quite a ways to go as Charlieboy is going to begin going to Bubbleman stage.
Yeah, Charlieboy is going to have the easier time of it with Quickman, Airman, and Bubbleman left. Metalman, pretty quick, easy stage to get through, but Woodman and Heatman are going to be a little more difficult to navigate. Siberian Bull is mostly through this Heatman stage, but I think Charlieboy might be able to get through Bubbleman and possibly Quickman if he finds it a little better than Siberian Bull will be able to navigate Woodman. But hey, it's a race. We'll see who gets through the 8 Masters first.
The Rainbow about to take on the next Robot Master. Kind of forgot who was it. Oh, it was Donkey Kong. Gonna see if he can try to find something to take him out quickly. Oh, he's Buster Soft weak. This is gonna be a very fast fight. Didn't quite see on Charlieboy's end, but yeah, a very squishy Woodman where you can pretty much just shoot through his shield. Very fast fight. Siberian Bull, 2 more stages to go, one of which is Woodman. So we're gonna about to see him go through the wooded forest, through the treehouse, and see how he takes care of this very daunting airman that gave Charlieboy fits earlier when Charlieboy started here.
Yeah, this will give an interesting contrast. Siberian Bull will definitely have more tools at his disposal, while Charlieboy, with You know, no E-tanks, no weapons. It was his first stage, so, you know, if there's a spot Siberian Bull could make up some time where maybe Charlieboy found some time with Quick Boomerang against Heatman, Siberian Bull might be able to find something here that could equal that out.
Well, we'll find out when the time comes, because we still got quite a lot of race to go. As Charlieboy once again begins Quickman stage, starting his last couple of Robot Master stages, and Siberian Bull about to go to the top of the treehouse, where now that we have a little bit more focus, we got a little bit of a chicken coop at the top of the treehouse. Club Chicken, as our cooks just running around the area, opted to go with Supercharged Heat, which is pretty much just shredding through just about everything. Didn't quite see the energy. I think that's about 2 units per shot, which is not bad, but you definitely would like to have, you know,
3.
one.
Like 3 or 4. No, it is 2. Okay. Your eyes are better than mine.
Well, the
anymore.
difference between 2 and 3 is actually completely staggering, especially when it comes to charge heat. It could significantly reduce the numbers of super shots that you can have, which is very important. Since if you get a good supercharged heat, you would definitely like to use it as one of your go-tos to try to take out as many enemies as possible. Speaking of taking out enemies, trying to take out this very annoying airman, and when
I think unfortunately there's no E-tanks, and that's going to be a death for Siberian Bull. He did not find anything yet. I believe he tried the Time Stopper, and everything else hasn't been tested yet. So we'll see what comes up. It looks like he might just be going with the Time Stopper, get on the other side, and wail away with something.
And oh, he found something.
Oh, hello.
That is a metal blade that is ripping completely through Airman. That is gonna be huge, given how very annoying those tornadoes are set up. The tornado patterns being absolutely random in the Airman fight. As we mentioned before, it gave Charlieboy a lot of trouble with having the minimum amount of items available to try to even take on Airman legit. So having that little bit of data is going to be very useful. Once again, very important when it comes to the boss rush.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got both of our runners in their final stage right now. Siberian Bull with Metal Man and Charlieboy with Airman. Charlieboy is made to the checkpoint screen, so he's got his final screen. Siberian Bull maybe a little bit behind in making it to that final boss door, but maybe I'm a little bit off. Again, it's a race. We'll see where they end up. But I think Charlieboy might have a little bit of advantage when it comes to actually getting to the boss door.
Well, these Joes are Buster immune, and Charlieboy is sticking with it in spite of Siberian Bull gonna use item 2 a little too high. For some reason, if you do the item a little too high, it will despawn at a certain distance. So a little bit of an unfortunate placement, but regardless, doesn't matter. Just use the rest for the remainder of the screens, and Siberian Bull is gonna fight our metal in metal. While Charlieboy, surprising, in spite of being behind in the early goings, especially with the Woodman death, he's gonna be the first one to go to our final stages.
Yeah, Siberian Bull, just unfortunately, a second here, a second there. Uh-oh. That looks like, that's not Dr. Wily, that's Dr. Mario. It's looking like the heel turn for Dr. Mario today.
Yeah, our formerly good doctor has gone rogue. Mario's gonna try to take out Charlieboy and Siberian Bull, who both are about to take on these stages. in proper fashion. But what's also going to be in proper fashion is our dragon guessing game. So for those that aren't familiar, we'd like to have a little fun here. So the Mega Dragon, our boss of Wally 2, has quite a number of randomized attributes. Of course, the obvious ones are weakness and color. You can guess those, but we have a number of sprites that the dragon can also have. So, of course, it can be vanilla. It can have a pair of 80 shades. It can be some anime eyes, which we kind of call them as anime sunglasses. It could be the Oats Dragon. It could be Swag Dragon. It could be our cute little unicorn-style dragon, a little horn, call it a dragoncorn. And our newest sprite, our Yoshi Dragon. We only have a few seconds, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just say we got a blue dragon buster, and I want the Yoshi Dragon to appear as much as possible.
Well, it's the bubble lead until it isn't. Everybody knows that, but it's gonna be a purple dragon, and it's gonna be the bubble lead, and it's gonna be the Oats Dragon.
Right, and within the clouds and the darkness, that is a true Sage Dragon, mostly green. I'm gonna count this as green. So if you say a green Sage Dragon, you're 2/3 of the way there. Meanwhile, for weaknesses, it definitely ain't the second page. And unfortunately, it's not Buster, so it's not gonna be an easy kill. But air shooters definitely seem to be a way to go. You get at least 2 shot, 3 if it gets close enough. But it's gonna stick with the 2, and a very solid weakness overall. Charlieboy first out of Wally Stage 1. Siberian Bull is about to do the same exact fight. We're gonna see if you found the same exact weakness or find another. The dragon does have 2 weaknesses, with a third being the Buster, but Buster is not available.
Alright, so let's see where we're at. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. No. Let's see what we got here. No, no quick boomerang. What was that? That was the bubble lead there. Looked like it overshot. It's going to be the air shooter for Siberian Bull here, so we'll see how this works out. Charlieboy's in the lead right now. Siberian Bull going to have to chase him down. I'm not sure if either runner is aware of what the Wily Wall weakness is yet.
Well, we should know it's not Buster. I'm pretty sure both our runners would have at least checked Buster. And both our runners usually tend to wait until they go to the booming turrets to check on the walls then. And hopefully not even use them and have our god weaknesses do the work instead. But we'll find out one way or another if the walls get tested or not. As Charlieboy trying to survive, these moles are not being kind. There we go. Get ourselves a little bit of a health drop to get a little bit of a health buffer as he's about to go into the Pico-Pico-Kun units.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is that Siberian Bull might have checked for walls because he picked up the late E-Tank in, I believe, Flashman stage. Let's see how Siberian Bull works his way through these moles. He's going to have to take a little bit of damage here to make this climb, and there's a mole basically right on top of him. Looks like Metal Blade.
Well, meanwhile, the Picos are vanilla looking, and they are just getting decimated by the air shooter. Air shooter doing a lot of work in the Wally stage now against the bosses, one-shotting them, and with the one unit energy drain, I really think this is the clear go-to for weaknesses in this fight. We're gonna see Siberian Bull finds the same weakness. Gonna go for the usual suspects. I think he found a lazy leaf, but
it didn't look like it was a lazy leaf. I think it was a 2-hitter on the leaf shield.
Didn't notice. At least not the first few hits, but regardless, he still finds the air shooter anyway, and probably very glad he finds it as Charlieboy goes into some very questionable waters, about to go to supposedly the Gus tank in a few moments.
Yeah, we'll see if it's been redesigned at all. I mean, Dr. Mario's at play here, so We'll see what we end up with. But it looks like about a solid minute right now for Charlieboy as the lead. Siberian Bull spawning in at 2450, Charlieboy 2350 when it came to Wily 3.
Well, Wily 3 came and went for Charlieboy, finding quick boomerang for the Technodrome, a little guest star appearance for this particular seed. About to go into Wally 4, which normally would be the great equalizer, but I think Charlieboy, being as skilled as he is, shouldn't have too much trouble. But of course, can't completely speak too soon, as we usually say and completely acknowledge, anything can still happen in the final minutes of the race. So let's see what Wally 4 actually does have in store, at least for Charlieboy, as Siberian Bull continues to try and catch up.
I was just about to say, it's usually my job to end up commentator cursing someone, but we'll see how this works out for Charlieboy. I think this will be one of the obstacles he needs to get past, and it looks like he's just going to use the items and not try to play any of the guessing game for where that little pitfall is. Doesn't want to be introduced to the spikes. Siberian Bull finding that air shooter, so right now, still roughly a minute behind, and Charlieboy into the anxiety room. Just gonna try to get through there, damage burst his way through that first screen.
Yeah, the prop tops are really not too much of a threat in the moving platform room, so I'm pretty sure it's your Pelican just go to the next screen, yeah, pop the item 2 and just fly across the area before that one particular prop top just tries to pick him off. And even if he does, we do have our increased pause buffering abilities thanks to the coders behind the randomizer and its quality of life. For those that aren't familiar, normally you cannot pause while weapons are out. Thanks to hard work with our coders, you can pause at any given time, regardless of weapon or item or any situation. You can use that to get out of some very precarious situations if needed. Meanwhile, Charlieboy doing the good old weakness dive, trying to hope for our god weaknesses, but, well, we do have one extra chance. Is air shooter? Nope. So it looks like we're gonna go for a full dig, trying to find the wall and turret weaknesses.
I was about to say, is this even randomized? It looks like, nope, not the crash bomb for the crash wall. Alright. Oh, air shooter for the wall. Okay.
Once again, air shooter being the star of the show, doing a lot of work in this fight, but still needs to find that weakness for the turrets. And it took some time, but we found a quick boomerang, and Siberian Bull somehow had a little bit of issue, wound up taking a death in the Wally 4, so that lead Charlieboy has is augmented even further.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was watching that same boss fight you were with Charlieboy. I unfortunately did not notice what happened to Siberian Bull. So, naughty me, as Charlieboy, Robot Master #1 in the rematch, so let's see how he works through his top 10 contender list and makes his way off to the Wily machine.
Charlieboy not digging for weaknesses for the airman that gave him a number of bits. Obviously, to take the Buster, winds up having a much better time this fight around. Gonna continue on the third Robot Master. Meanwhile, Siberian Bull says a few more screens. Gonna have to deal with some shenanigans trying to find the wall weakness. Realizing air is the wall weakness, with quick boomerang doing the job for the turrets.
Oh, looking for the leaf shield, nothing doing there. He tried the crash bomb on the wall. Let's see what we got. No, now he's got the wall weakness. Now, can you actually hit 2 walls with the same air shooter shot?
If the air shooter is wide enough, he can definitely hit multiple walls. depending on the strength, you can break them all at once. But as you can see, you still need to take a couple of extra air shooters to one-shot the walls. Speaking of one thing, Charlieboy has one more fight left in his Franny Boy. The end joke probably only works if you're in the race room, but regardless, Franny Boy goes down. Wild Machine sighted. Is it gonna be weak to the Buster?
I sure hope not. Alright, Dr. Mario at least had a production budget this time around, so no paper mache, but looks like something was found. Maybe the bubble lead.
Yep, that was definitely the bubbles. But is it gonna be good for both phases? And indeed it is. The bubbles are the best weakness for this fight. Trying to get to that E-tank, waste a little bit of menuing time, but ultimately not gonna matter. You're gonna wind up taking out the Wild Machine and taking your line one more time. Charlieboy going to Victory Road, got one more boss, an alien, and a weakness. You got to see how soon you're gonna find what he needs to take care of our final boss.
It looks like he's pretty well off on most everything for ammunition, so this should be just a matter of running through Victory Road here and making his way straight to the checkered flag. So Siberian Bull, I believe, on his 4th Robot Master right now. So there's going to be a lot of time that's got to be picked up a lot of quick, and I don't think Siberian Bull's got enough time to really do it.
Yep, because we got an Oath Dragon already sighted and already doing the weakness dive, finds Leaf Shield and decimates the drag, our alien here. Charlieboy are already with the advantage. Finishing with an official race.gg time of 31 minutes and 44 seconds.
Yeah, well done, given that the airman caused so much trouble at the start. Looked like able to tighten up and just put his big boy pants on and get through the rest of this seed. Siberian Bull gonna finish out, so we'll see a time, but as we can see, it's probably over about a minute and a half deficit between Siberian Bull and Charlieboy.
So yeah, and this is Siberian Bull's pick, trying to get a little bit of advantage with the Zipless set. Winds up being down, and Charlieboy is gonna have next pick, and you know he's probably gonna pick Zips. So Charlieboy with a complete and whole advantage, about to go into race 2 as Siberian Bull finishes up. So could the writing be on the wall for SB? We don't know. As sometimes Charlieboy say, you live and die by the zip, but once Siberian Bull finishes off this race, we're gonna find out a little bit in race 2. But as I just said, first things first, let's give Siberian Bull a little bit of time to finish this sucker up, and we can wrap up race 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually now it gives me a little time to go over the bracket. Siberian Bull found himself in this 3rd place match, taking a loss to Casual Tom in his last match. Casual Tom waiting in the grand finals, and Charlieboy running the lower bracket like a boss. His first match was a loss to Snake, who Siberian Bull beat in round 2. Charlieboy ran through the losers bracket. Swift, Aerospecie, Snape won that rematch, and now all the way back into the losers bracket final, 3rd place match. Charlieboy looking good so far. Up a game, broke serve, so to say.
Well, regardless, we do have a solid finish from Siberian Bull. Official racetime.gg time of 34:20. So that concludes race 1 between our runners. and we will have race 2 coming up in a moment while we get things ready for that. So sit back and hang tight. We'll be back in a moment. Howdy, howdy, we're back. This is your boy LV Creed here, joined here alongside Frico, as we're preparing to get started with Race 2 of our Losers Finals of the Mega Man 2 Randomizer Tournament. For those that haven't caught up on the action and missed Race 1, first off, how you doing? Hope you're enjoying things on SpeedGaming too. But that said, Charlieboy taking one a little bit out of Siberian Bull's nose. Last time we had some zipless action, which would normally be Siberian Bull's bar park, but Charlieboy winds up sniping him and winds up having a 1-0 advantage. But now we're going to be in Tournament C, which now puts the ball in Charlieboy's court, as zips are now available, but stages are still hidden. So we're going to see how things are going to be going. Right now, this could be the thing that could put Charlieboy in the grand finals, but I'm pretty sure Siberian Bull is not going to make things easy. As we do get started, looks like Siberian Bull had to do a little bit of a reset for a particular Robot Master that he didn't quite like. Meanwhile, Charlieboy does find metal, which is a pretty decent starting point. Definitely better in compared to Woodman that he had earlier. Gets a free E-Tank. But since we are doing zips now, he won't have item 1 to try to do this, what normally would be one of the easiest zips to set up in Metal Man stage. Regardless of the matter,
you don't want to lose the time on a good wood zip, so Charlieboy taking the, I think the better path here. Pick up your item 3, hopefully. You know where Woodman is. Hopefully item 3 isn't in Woodman. I believe Woodman had an item gated behind it, and it was item 3, if memory served me correctly, in the first game of this match.
Yeah, but it's also a brand new seed. We have no idea where these items are, as the items are shuffled amongst each other in the 8 robos, every single seed. Who knows? It could be depending on whoever gets items in metal. We can have an item in air. We won't know until these bosses are defeated. And in SB's case, we're gonna see this another absurdly durable Heat Man, while Charlieboy gets a far better deal with this Buster Soft Weak Flash.
Have refunds on these bosses? My God. Dude, Charlieboy, I think, hit the whammy with Airman and Siberian Bull, getting the whammy here with, all the way darn near to the end. I think he got 10 or 11 hits in and then takes a death, so that's gonna set him back. That's probably a good 20 seconds right there.
Yeah, and if Heatman sticks to vanilla tactics, he's still doing his 30, 60, and 90 frames. So the longer the frames he has of invulnerability, the time winds up adding up significantly. Meanwhile, Charlieboy once again going to one of our easier stages than Flashman next, trying to continue his very decent streak of good luck. Siberian Bull gets the revenge on our Pika Heat. Unfortunately, doesn't get an item for his trouble, so just very unfortunate for Siberian Bull to be down so early, especially in Charlieboy's element. He needs all the help he can get to try to keep Charlieboy from getting the game and keeping it away from him.
Well, what Siberian Bull almost kind of has to hope for is, Charlieboy found a little something there. That's Buster Weak Walls. But going back to Siberian Bull, he's going to need, Crashman to be holding an item, Woodman to be holding an item. Places where you want to use the zips, gating those items is going to be Siberian Bull's best friend right now. And it looks like That's 3 stages down and 5 left.
It'd be 2 down, fortunately, but regardless of the matter, Charlieboy getting probably one of the best case scenarios for for Siberian Bull. So Charlieboy probably finding the stages that Zips and Item 2 would be the most useful, and we got our Fantasy Inquisition making the area become a little more like hot air, trying to slow him down, but trying to make use of the time stopper to make things a little easier in comparison. Just kind of a very annoying heat.
I was a little long-winded with my last point, but it's 3 stages total that we know don't have items. Airman, Metal Man, and Flashman. And now with Siberian Bull finishing this stage, that's Quickman that doesn't have an item. So there's a 3 out of 4 shot right now for, I believe, Bubbleman, Heatman, Woodman, and Crashman. There's 3 items in those 4 stages.
Yeah, it's looking more and more likely that an item is going to be in an area where you probably would like to have them. But we'll see what the randomization is going to choose for our item placements, as Charlieboy is going to have to be forced to do the Yokus and not do anything with item 2 in any part of the stage, so maximum time drain in this stage, even with the walls being weak to Buster, as Siberian Bull still going by his zipless routes, opts to ignore the usually generally easy to perform bubble zip. Is one of these things that one's personal creed to do running specific raids could hurt or harm one's chances, but we're not going to argue things. Once again, as you keep alluding to, these guys are in the losers finals and we're just in the stands.
Yeah, they're battling for 3rd place in the tournament, so, I mean, they've been doing something right to get here. And, let's see, Charlieboy. Alright, we get an item. So, item 1 is behind Heatman's stage. So, that'll help a little bit with Crashman. We'll see if that item 1 works out really well. I really don't want to see Siberian Bull get an item here. Oh, he does get one, and it's item 3.
There we go. Charlieboy trying to set up the stationary item 1 variant of the Crash Zip. Whenever you get a stationary item 1, for those that aren't familiar with randomization, item 1 is the only item that has a randomized attribute in terms of height and duration. But yeah, whenever it's stationary, you can actually just put the item 1 in such a position where you can go through the ceiling and just slightly wedge and start to perform a zip, resulting in what you saw on Charlieboy's end. So very well executed, and Charlieboy once again using those little pieces of knowledge, randomizer specific zip knowledge, to get a little more of a heads up on Siberian Bull.
Yeah, this is actually pretty good showing by Charlieboy so far. So far so good. Siberian Bull has the item 3, but choosing not to go through these, and there's no good wood here for Siberian Bull. I do remember him saying that he did not like to use zips when I interviewed him in one of the earlier races. So it looks like even with the zips allowed, he's still sticking to his guns and keeping off the zip property here, going about it the long way.
Well, it's gonna depend on if Charlieboy finds. Well, before what I was about to say he was gonna find, we found a huggable bubble, but fortunately he's soft Buster weak, so was able to keep enough distance to pick him off before it winds up bear hugging him, but bubble hugging him to death. but also finds item 2 in Crash. So that's going to be a pretty decent advantage, especially since he goes to Airman. You're going to wind up getting a little bit of more time compared to Siberian Bull, where this stage was just first. So it's going to have that item 2 advantage and probably going to start flying over here. Yep. Instantly with the, ooh, a little too high. Gonna try to keep himself on the item 2 as long as possible. Yeah, doing maximum time saving
right
in the
on
first
the
stage.
edge, yeah. Yeah, just running to the right, a pretty effective strategy in certain circumstances. So Charlieboy getting through that first section. Let's see if we find something that's a little palatable to just shoot, pick up item energy. Yeah, get back on that item 2.
Item 2 always being faster than walking, so any kind of weapon drop is definitely going to put into item 2 and trying to put as much of it as time save as possible. Meanwhile, Siberian Bull going to Crash, not really having anything to make these moving platform rooms any faster. Has item 3, does not have item 1. Item 1 locked in vanilla heat. So gonna have to.
She's not been to yet, unfortunately. And it looks like he'll have item 3 for the Crash Climb if he so chooses to use it. But it looks like just everything going right for Charlieboy here. Oh wow, that got a little close, but Charlieboy, I believe, taking down his 5th Robot Master.
Yep, technically that would be heat on heat violence. That was a supercharged atomic fire, looking more like a charged buster with the sprite work, decimating heat man, and moving on to Woodman stage. We're gonna see if Charlieboy is gonna try to attempt Goodwood using the stationary item 1. There is a bit of a way to set it up with a stationary item 1, but the position is extremely finicky. We're gonna see if Charlieboy goes for it. Otherwise, he's gonna be like Siberian Bull, is gonna have to take to the treehouse. Come to the treehouse rather.
Yeah, one of the bigger time saves that I think Charlieboy could have taken advantage of just won't really be available to him, but it looks like he's gonna give it a shot. No, looks like just gonna opt out of it and go up to treehouse. Oh no! All right. What's Dr. Charlieboy got cooking here?
Yep, this is exactly what I'm talking about. He's trying to wedge the item 1 in such a way that he can try and clip and zip through the ceiling, but just couldn't place it. It's a very tough setup. I argue it's borderline pixel perfect. Meanwhile, Siberian Bull, after using the item 3 for the Crash Climb, finds our huggable bubble. Had to take the E-Tank, but still managed to get far enough away to take him out and get item 2, so he can have that in his arsenal for his remaining stages. One of it being heat, which I'm pretty sure he'd be glad to find and use item 2 for it, since Charlieboy didn't have any items available for it.
Yeah, we'll see how Siberian Bull manages the first part of this stage, because we do have, as you like to call it, the Fanish Inquisition. I like to call it something that I'm not allowed to repeat on commentary. But it's not good. This is not something that I want to see during a randomizer seed.
So we're taking care of Crashman and Woodroom. Got a couple of Robot Master stages left. Finds Bubble. Obviously, she's definitely gonna go for the bubble zip. No, absolutely no question about that. So that's definitely gonna be time save in comparison to Siberian Bull, who once again sticking to his zipless routes, obstinate not to. So once again, it's gonna be these personal decisions that's gonna wind up putting Siberian Bull further and further away. But once again, you're just gonna have to let our runners work and just let them do their things. As Charlieboy is about to do his thing, do the pause buffers to set this zip.
Yeah, absolutely. Charlieboy setting up the Bubble Man zip, but I remember one of the tournaments literally came down to a zip going wrong in Victory Road, of all things. I believe it was in either Game 4 or Game 5 of the Grand Finals. Some of our alumni, shall we say, since I don't believe they're in the current tournament, I believe it was Prodigy and Metalo. Metalo got stuck, and that soft-locked him and allowed Prodigy to win the tournament, if memory serves me correctly. So it could happen even in Victory Road, where you just go for a zip and something bad happens. So it's not over till it's over, but it definitely looks like Charlieboy's race to lose at this point, as he is got Quick Man left, which is, well, surprise, surprise, a quick stage. Metal Man and Flash Man for Siberian Bull. So he's going to be probably about a minute behind going into Wily.
Well, speaking to the Victory Road zones, at least fortunately, or if you want to think, depending on your mindset, unfortunate, but yeah, the stationary item one is not going to make him zip in the Victory Road. That's not going to work, so you don't have to worry about soft locking in a Wily 6. But regardless, it still doesn't change the fact that there are some shenanigans that can happen if our runners opt to take specific routes. But be it as it may, we still got things to do. Siberian Bull trying to make work a Metal Man stage, trying to get as much time as possible to try to keep pace, while Charlieboy, beyond the second half of the stage, going through the force beams, gotta take out our final Robot Master in a moment. So just about a handful of seconds, he's gonna be our first opponent into our Wily stages, or whatever Sprite sees fit to take over Wily's position.
Yeah, hopefully Wily's at home and not on vacation, so we don't have any substitute teacher trying to fly around his spacecraft this time.
Alright, Charlieboy making his way to said final Robot Master. Don't quite remember it on SB's end, and it was indeed an airman. Much more favorable than the first fight in Seed 1. Buster Southweek and goes down in a split second. Charlieboy, well, we got spaceship. Do we get good eyebrows? Oh, yes we do.
Oh.
The best eyebrows in video gaming makes his appearance, about to fight Wily in the Wily Castle, or in the pure abject darkness that only has his logo. Charlieboy about to do damage, as Siberian Bull still trying to make best of what he doesn't know is currently a kind of an interesting situation. Taking out Flashman, got one more stage before he goes to the Wily stages.
Yeah, so we can see Charlieboy building up a little bit of an advantage, taking some of the zips available to him, while Siberian Bull did not. And Charlieboy might be able to hold serve and win this in 2 games. We'll see what happens. Of course, stuff happens. I don't want to commentator curse anyone, but stuff happens, and we'll just leave it at that.
Siberian Bull, but the good news that walls are indeed weak to Buster. But yeah, we have a game we hadn't started to play. We're not gonna go over the rules. Just start guessing. Freako, you know what to do. Guess now.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna keep it the same way. We're going Bubble Lead, Oats Dragon, and we're going Purple Dragon. Go for it.
Still gonna try to manifest our newest sprite, our Yoshi Dragon, but this time I'm gonna stick with a red dragon that's gonna be weak to metal. So we're gonna hopefully see a very easy second page shenanigans on Charlieboy's end, hopefully.
Alright, Siberian Bull to the boss door, and Charlieboy to the boss of Wily 1. So let's see what we got.
That is mostly a green, very vanilla dragon. That is weak to metal at least, so I get that on my docket.
Yep, points for that one. So Siberian Bull on his way into Wily 1, while Charlieboy on his way out. So this is looking pretty good for Charlieboy right now. Siberian Bull, well, he made his way through. For those, you know what? I'm gonna make a little cheap plug here. Although I don't have all the information, I know there's a prize pool for this particular tournament, and I believe the loser of this match walks away with $225, and the winner is guaranteed $375. So they're basically playing for about $150 or the shot at the big prize, which is $900. And I believe Casual Tom awaiting the winner of this match in the grand finals.
Oh yeah, there's some big money on the line, and with us being in the top 3, we do have that guaranteed $500 bonus, hot bonus. So yeah, there's some big bucks on the line. So quite a bit of monetary difference between first, second, and third. Both of these two trying to go for bigger money, not quite selling for third, and moving on to grand finals where the big money's at stake.
Oh hey, big money, no whammies, we love it. But yeah, the consolation prize for being knocked out in third place is $225. So I'd be okay with that, even though, you know, I wouldn't be able to win the tournament. I'd still get a good little bit of something for my effort. I'm with it. Uh-oh. Is that angry Twitch chat coming after us here?
Yeah. Twitch be mad. But when's it ever not mad sometimes? Charlieboy, take it out the units after a little bit of farming session a little while earlier. Finding bubbles to try to do the work, but gonna continue to stick with Air Shooter though. But Air Shooter going a little bit fast, kind of phasing through, taking a little bit of extra effort trying to get the one shot. Probably gonna need to go back to bubbles to finish the job, which he so promptly does. As Siberian Bull, after finishing the dragon, finally enters Wily Stage 2 as well.
Yeah, this might have a little bit of ramifications later on, but there are generously placed weapon refills, so the air being run out of shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Yeah, Charlieboy immediately going for the ammo pickups to refill that air. And I'm gonna say that's closer to orange. That's orange juice.
Oh, that almost looks like root beer to me, but
yeah, you can say that. It's a dark orange.
Like cream soda, root beer, something like that. But Siberian Bull having a little bit of difficulty with that metal crusher, but getting rewarded with a couple item pickups.
Charlieboy taking care of business in the final screens of Wily 3. About to see what our Gust Tank or Gust Tank analog is approaching, and the Technodrome makes one more appearance. It's not done wanting the spotlight yet.
Hey, it's one time to shine, and it's getting there. Quick boomerang the solution to that problem for Charlieboy. And he will move on to Wily 4 as Siberian Bull looking to figure out how he wants to deal with Twitch chat right now. And it looks like he's going to settle on the air shooter and just go for it.
Well, perfect timing considering the music that's playing on Charlieboy is in. Hoping to use that air shooter to good use, saying he's the airman now, but opting to go to quick boomerang instead, and probably going to stick with that for the remainder of the Pico fight, as Charlieboy working his way through Wily 4, which wouldn't only be the great equalizer, but I'm pretty sure Charlieboy, as skilled as he is, probably not going to phase him all that much.
Well, I saw the great equalizer do some equalizing earlier on in the final 8 of the tournament. I cannot recall which match it was, but there was equalizing to be had. But it looks like somebody forgot to fill the vacancy there. Nobody there in that first room, so looks like 3 out of the 4 rooms. Buy 3, get 4 free.
We're about to find out, and yep, it is full-on rest stop, as Charlieboy is just gonna pass through it and just use the remaining of his items to get by these moving platforms. Yep, using item 1 for the rest of it, and just gonna go to our final screens where we're gonna face our booby turrets. We already know that the Buster is the wall weakness, so that's already a weakness dive that Charlieboy doesn't have to worry about. And the only thing that he is gonna have to worry about is seeing if our god weaknesses are available for the turrets. If not, it's going to be a little extra bit of digging.
Well, it doesn't look like air shooter got there, nor the metal blade. So we'll see if no, looks like no god weaknesses, but at least we won't have to worry about the walls.
Siberianbull trying to match his way through the Technodrome using metal blades, while a different kind of matching is about to happen with a combination of Buster and Quick Boomerang, which seem to be the weakness for the turrets this seed.
Yeah, that's pretty fortunate for Charlieboy. Siberianbull starting stage 4, Charlieboy on his way out. So a little bit of catch me if you can going for Charlieboy's side. Time is of the essence as he starts the refights. 26:34. So we'll see what we got.
Yeah, good old heat-on-heat violence, once again using all the information that he gained from fighting Robot Masters and trying to use them against each other. Opted to go a little bit left-right to mitigate some of the time loss they probably would have done just going for one side. So what would have been counterclockwise is going to be a clockwise run through the Robot Masters until going to our middle teleport on the left side as he finished off our 3rd Robot Master and Airman going through our 4th.
Yeah, Siberianbull seeing that the anxiety rooms aren't so anxiety-inducing this time around, so he should be through pretty easily. Charlieboy just absolutely flying so far.
Yeah, pretty much carving a path to destruction on these Robot Masters. Once again, keeping tabs on these weaknesses. Some of them absolutely two-shotting. Once again, those lovable hugs from Bubble taking the health bar into a second-to-last Robot Master as Siberianbull going through the final phases of Wily Stage 4, those last screens, on the way to the turrets.
Yeah, Charlieboy, I believe this is his last Robot Master as he finished off that top left one at the start, so here we go with the machine. What the heck is this thing?
That would be closer to the Wily 1, the Wily Castle from Mega Man 1. Charlieboy absolutely obliterating it with bubbles again. Going to Victory Road, looking for a sub 30 here. very much on pace for it. This would be a pretty good feather in his cap, winning Losers Finals and securing his spot in Grand Finals with a victory, barring a catastrophic situation, keeping him away from the finish line.
Yeah, this does look pretty good for Charlieboy, so I can count on. I don't even need one hand. The only thing that Charlieboy really has to worry about is not having enough ammunition to get through this alien fight, and even then...
Well, what ammo?
Oh my.
Big Pip and Wally.
Wow.
No match for just good old-fashioned bullets, good old-fashioned lemons. Charlieboy securing his place in Grand Finals with a blistering pace, first place with a 29:33.
Wow. Sub 30 indeed. So 29:33 for Charlieboy. That's going to put the match in his favor 2-0 as Siberian Bull. We're going to watch him finish things out. And Charlieboy, well done, making the full losers bracket run. All the way from a round 1 loss to Snape, avenging that loss along the way, and he will be in the grand final match.
Giving credit due, Siberian Bull, even though we'll be losing him, he is still able to continue on to losers finals. Once again, also in the money. So for his efforts, he's definitely still going to get a very solid payout, and still ran a very well-raced tournament throughout, as Siberian Bull is about to go to his final Robot Master and Kangaroo Jack on his way to dealing with the Mega Man 1-esque Wally machine.
Well, if you told me at the start of a tournament that I'm going to finish in 3rd place and I'm going to get eliminated by losing to the 2 people that are in grand finals, I can't complain about that. I would take that and I would like it. I mean, let's be honest here.
Well, speaking of which, we do have a Charlieboy signing in the Discord, assuming he gets unmuted. Hopefully we get some reactions, but regardless, a solid congratulations to Charlieboy. If we get ourselves a few words from our victor here.
Holler, holler. Yeah, GG's the bull. Thank you. Yeah, GG's the bull. I think actually gold split on Wily Machine, which is like 3 fights in Wily Machine, which is pretty neat. I did a pretty good job on that last seed to make sure to write down all the weaknesses or take notes and stuff, so that ended up helping me out a little bit. And yeah, I don't know, I mean, you know, solid consistency strats all around helped me toward the victory this time around.
Yeah, can't complain. So the losers bracket seems to be treating you well, as you've run the entire gauntlet all the way from first round. I guess potential for elimination. We need to start you in the losers bracket next year.
This guy. I mean, you know, I mean, all these guys are super good competitors and all that, and I mean, you know, I'm very. Oh, oops. Sorry for that, if there was one.
You can say yeah, good combination of the both, one way or another. You're the one moving on. You're going to the grand finals. Siberian Bull just finished off.
Yeah, making it official, finishing with an official time of 32 minutes and 44 seconds, which is a solid time under most circumstances, but it's not sub 30.
Hey, you know, I mean, like I said, solid consistency strats, practice. I mean, I've been doing this for like what 8 years now, so you'd think I'd continue to improve, but that might not be the case sometimes. You know, sometimes the whole year long we only have a rando season once a year, and then falling out of practice and back into practice. But once you knock the rust off and you can get back to your consistency and stuff, then I mean, it's all up to the roll of the dice. Compare what stages you choose versus your opponents, and what items you get where, and just all that kind of stuff. GG's, Bull.
Oh yeah, I didn't do any of that.
Well, yeah, but once again, congratulations for a pretty solid tournament run, SB. Once again, you have been eliminated from the just barely missing grand finals, but once again, as we've been alluding to, at least through the final half, you're still in the money. You're still getting paid quite a bit. So I'm pretty sure, in spite of not getting as far as you hold reaching grand finals, I'm pretty sure with some money in your pocket, you're definitely not complaining.
Well, I'll make my donation back at least.
Hey, there you go. No, yeah, I mean, I'm so grateful for everyone who donated this year. This is our biggest prize pot to date, and I mean, I would be floored if we get anything bigger in the future. But I mean, never say never. But at the same time, like, man, I mean, is our community dying? No, I wouldn't say so. We have a very strong, dedicated tournament base and strong, dedicated developer base as well. I really wish we'd have other players from Mega Man 2, from the Innocent community, or just everywhere. Like just give this game a try, and join our community, play for fun. And come join our tournaments. I mean, we highly encourage you guys to give this thing a try. It's a lot of fun.
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared.
But yeah, just a little bit about some of the races. We know we talked to Charlieboy just a little bit about his race. SB, I just want to know, because once again we should focus a little bit. Can you go over what happened in Wily 4 within the first seed? What happened?
I still don't know. I've done that strat with the item 1 enough, but I guess I was too close to the spikes and just decided, hey, I like to hug these spikes and just die. Was not happy about that. I've done that strat so many times that it's all. As much as I want to say it's inconceivable, it happened.
Yes, especially with you underestimate the length of the iframes, and the spike hitbox are actually kind of a little bit larger than they kind of look. So just kind of underestimating the spikes themselves, especially in terms of hitbox and contact reach. Yeah, that stuff can happen to literally anyone if you're just not really thinking about it. So yeah, I can completely understand and relate.
Well, that first seed, I was pretty much health poor throughout, having to use every E-tank I could get my hands on, and then running to that airman in wood room where he was definitely not going to be a bro.
Oh yeah, Charlieboy. Talk about that right quick.
Charlieboy might have something to say about that one too.
That was my first stage. Was Airman and wood stage I died twice on him, and I thought I was going to game over. I was like, oh my gosh, why? Like that guy was not a bro at all.
It was definitely not my first stage, but the strat I ended up using is the strat I used early in the tournament, where just so I could get close to Airman, I just pull out the flat time stopper just so I could get up to him. And then I pulled out metal, and it was I don't know if it was a soft or a great weakness, but either way, I just spammed metal, and it just demolished the Airman.
Yeah, I was like pause buffering over tornadoes and stuff. Like at first I was like, okay, well, it's not that bad. Like, and then like, I'll do my normal tank it and a shoot, and that didn't work the first time. And that was the second time. I'm like, okay, I might need to be a little bit more careful. So I'm pausing over stuff, and he still got me. And then like the third time, I was able to pause close enough and shoot fast enough, I guess. And man, it was a rough fight. nevertheless.
Right. Well, the other robot master that decided he wanted to give me a rough time for whatever reason this seed was Heat Man. Especially that second seed, because if the randomizer decided to have that third arc from his flame shots. I don't know how to describe it, just be a little different more than I would like it to do, and it just completely ruined my regular strategy against him.
Well, yeah, I was able to find the heat weakness for Heat Man the second seed around.
Well, it was considering Heat Man was in air stage, and it was technically my first stage I went through in that one after a reset because of finding one of the whammies. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, better choices on Charlie's part and poor ones on my part, and Charlie's better than this, and it was a great time.
That's what a lot of races come down to, is just the luck of the draw, the choices, the strategies you use, and your adaptability to switch said consistent strategies to a different strategy on the fly in the heat of the moment.
I mean, that's why I like playing this randomizer, because I like having to come up with new stuff on the fly.
No. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Guys, try it out, please.
All right. That being said, once again, Siberian Bull eliminated, going to third place. Charlieboy going to be facing Casual Tom in the grand finals, which should be coming up at least within the week. So we're going to be catching out on that. It's going to be a very, very interesting time. Best of 5. No winner's advantage. Usually no winner's advantage. We go through all 5 games because we like actually playing full games. So stay tuned. Hopefully we begin that well in order shortly. Charlieboy, just a few words if you want to say before.
Yeah. I think Tom was saying he's going to be available next Saturday. So I think that's probably in the evening time of EDT. So that's probably when grand finals will be. But yeah,
right.
No, good games, the Bull, nevertheless. Thank you guys for commentating and such, as always.
Honestly, you should just do all the settings for the finals.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work out. I mean, we usually do player one.
Just do it. Do whatever. I like coming up still the ideas. Do whatever.
Whatever the admins decide on, I'm cool with.
You're an admin.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be. I'm obviously exempt since I'm in.
Do whatever.
This guy.
Oh, mercy. Freako, you got any final words before we shut this thing down?
I know Casual Tom was our tracker, and I don't know. I may yield the floor to him if he actually wants to unmute and get in there for a little bit. So,
Tom?
I saw him on mute. So, Casual Tom, the floor is yours. Go for it, big boy.
I've been hovering over the unmute button for a while here, just waiting for my moment. But
yeah.
Tentatively, yes. I think not confirmed yet, but next Saturday night is sort of what we're thinking. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully, there'll be an announcement very soon. GG's Bull, Charlie. GG's for now. Get ready for a long night. If it's anything like last time when we went to race 6, remember that?
Plenty of coffee.
All right, you heard it here, folks. First, we're shooting for next Saturday, sometime in the evening, for Eastern Daylight. Of course, adjust your schedules and keep your eyes on the Speed Gaming family of channels for whenever this thing's gonna pop up. But until then, that is gonna be it for us. GG's Siberian Bull coming up in third place. We will have the grand finals coming up between Casual Tom and Charlieboy. Of course, also shout out to Casual Tom being our tracker for this race, and shout out to Freako once again being my very good co-commentator. Alright, so with that being said, this is your boy LV Cree. We're gonna be signing off. One more match to go. We'll see you then. Until then, catch you all later.
Thanks, everybody. GG's. Later, y'all.